Hello, welcome back to another pen talk. This is another pen that I acquired at the Philadelphia Pen Show. As many of you know, I love Delta pens. I have a lot. This is my ninth. Yafa, who's the Delta distributor in the US, had a fairly big size booth at the Philadelphia Pen Show. A lot of pens I would have liked to have acquired, but most of them were a little bit more expensive than I was willing to spend towards the end of the show with the money that I had left. So this one caught my eye before when I first saw it on the web. As an engineer, it struck me great with the way it was built and how it was put together. So acquiring one was a no-brainer. I got it in the broad nib, so this is the MOMODESIGN Alumina in blue. So this is made by Delta, but it's the MOMODESIGN brand, probably sold at their stores and also distributed by them, as well as sold by Yafa as a pen. Your standard cardboard sleeve fits very nicely. You get a nice little pamphlet on MOMODESIGN. This is the new version that they've just come out with, called the Torque. Looks nice. I don't remember whether I saw this at the pen show or not, but I like this one a little bit better. I really like the way the design is carried through with all of the packaging as well as on the pen. Very nice, shiny printing. The MOMODESIGN logo, which is similar to you might saw a steering wheel, or it could be, some nice cast hub. So that's just nice. And the matte black box is always fun. As you open it up, it's your classic Delta packaging. You get some cartridges, some literature, nice smooth kind of suede design, your Delta logo in here, and your MOMODESIGN, and the pen nice and secure within the packaging. You get your Delta, 100% Italian made. You get a little bit of pamphlet describing the Delta line and how you fill pens and how you use them. And it does carry the same lifetime warranty as all the Deltas that I've purchased has. So we extract the pen from the packaging. It is blue. It is very blue. I like the clean design. You know how they've flattened an area here to put in, the MOMODESIGN logo. Nothing really great about the clip. Your standard clip, fairly secure. At the top of the pen, you see the MOMODESIGN spoke logo, and also at the bottom of the barrel, you have the logo. So it's just a classic, interesting design. And as with most of the Deltas, they've put their name on the pen, usually on the cap somewhere. It's not numbered like a lot of my other Deltas, but at this price point, it's about $130. That's probably not something that Delta does. And I didn't get this at the normal large discount that I'm used to buying on eBay. Opening up the pen to look at the section and nib. Again, I find the design elements nice that they are transferred down. The only thing I find is, quite not in keeping is the Alumina put on that little section at the end of the section here, which is a relatively small section. But Delta always does put the name of their pen somewhere within the pen, and this is a unique place for them to put it. The nib is a steel nib. I like the kind of dark coating that's on it. So again, a shiny nib I don't think would have worked as well with the pen. And you get that nice little MOMODESIGN logo on the nib. Nib is in broad. It's steel. I haven't done anything, but you watch my other videos. I'm certain I'll get this ground at some point in time when I'm motivated and come up with what kind of grind I want on it. And your standard Delta plastic feed. One of the things that also intrigued me about this pen, as from my engineering basis, is the threads As you notice, they're nice, big, blocky threads, kind of Frank and Christoph, right? But when you thread on and post the cap, it lines up. So, you know, it's nice that they did those threads to make certain things line up. Similarly, when you unscrew the cap and put it back on, it also lines up again. You know, interesting just how Delta does things. It's a classic, you know, cartridge converter. It comes with a Delta converter. It's not a screw-in converter, so that's one of the things that, again, at the lower end pens, you're not going to get a screw-in. I had kind of toyed with what different types of inks to put in. So on this one, we're going to do Roher and Klinger Royal Blue. Again, I think a blue ink is appropriate. I did have Noodler's Standish Blue in here, an ink that I got at the Boston Pen Show, but with this broad nib and that ink, it just was too much for almost every piece of paper. So one of the things that I've been doing now when I fill pens, and this pen is not the first fill, but I'll do the converter a few times to really get that feed saturated and to flush the feed with the ink that we're going to use. And I'll do one final fill. You can see you get a pretty good fill. We'll recap. Clean off the nib. And we'll let it set a little bit, and while we're doing that, we'll do a little size comparison, which I think is always useful, to see how that pen compares against some pens that you may be familiar with or have seen in other videos. So put up against this lot, the Momo Alumina certainly holds its own against the M800, the Lamy Safari, and the TWSBI 580. So, you know, if those are pens that appeal to you, it fits right in. The one thing that you'll notice that is different, obviously, is when you look at the section and the nib. You know, the nib is a pretty decent size. The section, though, is a little thin. You know, it's 10 to 11 millimeters. So that's, you know, a little bit less than you're going to get on some of the other pens. Dimensions and other things on the pen. The pen weighs a little bit over 36 grams, so it's not on the light side, but it doesn't feel heavy. I think that's the thing that impresses you most. Being made out of aluminum, you kind of get that feel, even though you know it's a solid metal pen. The overall length is 138 millimeters. It's a little bit less than 5.5 inches overall length. When you uncap it, it's about 5 inches or 125 millimeters. The barrel weighs 24 grams and the cap weighs a little bit over 12. So, you know, most of the weight is in the barrel. When you post it, the overall length gets a pretty good size, 6.5 inches, but the balance is excellent. You don't notice any, because the cap is a little bit lighter, so the center of gravity is still well within a nice sweet spot on your hand. So now that we got some ink in the pen, let's put it to paper. As you can see from my last video review on the Signon, it's still there, and so we're going to use this paper. And again, I'm trying to position so we can see with the light, which is now more coming in from the southwest. So hopefully you can hear. I mean, some people have had trouble with Delta nibs. I don't know why. You know, every nib that I've had has been great right out of the box. I haven't had to do anything to smooth them or increase the flow or do anything like that. This is just your classic broad steel nib, but look at that. You can get some decent line variation out of it. And it's a soft steel nib. And I think, yeah, so I think I sprung the nib. So it can be sprung, but it looks like it straightened out well. So to me, that's something a nib can do. But it's interesting that this is softer than I expected in a steel nib, and very, very smooth. I may not grind this. I may keep it the way it is, because sometimes it's just good to have a nice wet writer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a wet writer. And that's why the when I put in the Noodler's ink, it just seeped right through the paper. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little review on what I consider to be a unique pen. I'm glad I'm added this to my collection. So may all your writing experiences be pleasurable, and may you have many. Bye.